Oti Mabuse, and I'm a professional dancer from Strictly Come Dancing. Been amazing, and it's been incredible. I think it's also something that's quite unbelievable because I was able to do it twice, which has never been done before, back to back. And so I'm still pinching myself like, did that really happen?
Bill and Oti!
I get to celebrate, and I feel really lucky that I get to celebrate these wins twice, because it plays in England, but then it plays again in South Africa at home. So it's a week later. So I was like, I'm fine. I was fine. I was like, whoa, I'm still in my bubble. I'm okay now. By like Friday, I was chilled. And then it aired on Saturday at home. And then I just saw my messages and I was like, yes! South Africa just reminded me that I did it again. And I was on the phone with my mom when it happened. She was the first person I called, and we were all crying, and my sisters, and they were like, you, how have I given birth to you?
And she found something in me, turned me into a dancer. Thank you, Oti.
We were voted. You don't know this, but in the UK, they take a vote. And they will tell you who they think the first person to go out is.
Yeah.
And we were voted the first couple to go out. And that was for about 3 weeks. And then it started to change. But to have that hanging over your head, like, okay, people clearly don't believe in us, which means our fight is harder, which means we have to spend more time in the studio, which means we really have a bigger turnover to do. And to do it for him in 9 weeks, I can't explain it. So my celebs, I've always had the athletic kind of celeb, and yes, they've always been different. So I've had a Paralympian, Johnny Peacock, and then from that I went to an actor, Danny Mac, and it's always been different. As a professional, this is why you hired me. I'm not going to be in a position to complain about the person that I get, because you hired me to show you that I'm a good teacher and to actually do my job, which is to protect my celeb, to teach him, to guide him, and to lead him. And if I can't do that, then I don't deserve a place in this show. Then I don't. And because I switched my mind like that, where I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna fight. I come from a culture of female fighters. I'm gonna fight until the very end. Even if people say to me, and so many people say to me, oh, the BBC is giving you a break, or if I was you, I would book myself a holiday to the Maldives, or oh, you guys are gonna be cute and funny. Or I remember one that really got to me was like, well, that's what you'll get for winning. And when you see that, and I was like, okay, okay, let's go. And I think everybody knows that I'm super competitive. Obviously, like honestly, I always say it's because of where I come from that I am the way I am. How my mom literally raised us, from the Winnie Mandelas, you know, the Sarafinas. When you think of just the women who are strong and they're fighters, and that's where we come from. That's in our DNA. And I always say that's the only reason. I've never met a South African who's like, I'm chilled. I haven't. Maybe because I haven't met all of them, but I haven't. Not yet. And so I always say it's because of where I come from. It's because I love my job. And my dad always said, if you love your job, it doesn't really feel like a job and you could do it all day. And so when it came to being with Bill, and I knew that a lot of people didn't see potential in us. My job was not to impress them. I didn't want to impress any of those people, any of the critics, but what I wanted to do was to do my job. I wanted to prove that I deserve to be a professional dancer on Strictly, and that would mean taking anyone of any age, any size, any background, and making them dance. That's my job. And if I can do that for about 6, 7, 8 weeks, then I've done it. I was always dancing my whole life. I started dancing when I was 4. But yeah, grew up in Mabopane with my sisters. I have 2 sisters. And like I said, my mom had a preschool. And this preschool obviously was then turned into a dance school after hours. So after we went to school in Pretoria, so we go to school in Pretoria North, and then we'd go back home to Mabopane and we would practice at the creche. Yeah, that's how it was for most of my life, literally most of my life. That's where we used to compete. We couldn't even afford shoes. We had to borrow shoes or have some secondhand shoes from other people, from charities, people who would give shoes away. That's where we grew up and we were dancing. And my mom is a very beautiful, ambitious, talented, driven woman. And she was like, I want better for my kids, and I can see that my kids love this and they're talented. And so she started having like side businesses, doing like taking kids from different schools and having all these school buses. And from there she made a little bit of money, and with that money she would have us take lessons with the top trainers in the country. When I got to an age where it was like, okay, now you at matric, focus on your studies. I want you to be a student. And I was like, I want to leave now. I don't want to go to university. And she was like, what? I was like, I want to go overseas. I want to go dance. I want to be a dancer. I want to be a world champ. And she's like, no, you are not. You are going to sit in Pretoria and you're going to study something. And I didn't even apply to university. My sister took my school report card, grade 11, and she replied to TUT for cartography for me. I didn't even apply to university. And so they were like, there, you're in the engineering plan, that's what you were gonna do. And obviously, if you don't have money and you're scared, I was 18 at that time. And they were like, how are you gonna support yourself? You wanna move to Germany, you don't even have a visa, what are you gonna do? So then I studied engineering, but I still kept dancing, I still kept teaching, and it literally wasn't the thing that I wanted. And I started working, and I think it was 3 months into it, and I was like, I'm done, Mom, I'm done. I would rather be poor as a dancer, happy, living my dream, than at home, quite successful as an engineer, but unhappy, and feeling like this is just not for me. I think it comes from, you know, as much as you go, what's missing on Strictly, for me, it was what's missing sometimes in what we see in day-to-day businesses. I was in South Africa and I was a D cup all my life at home. I was like, yeah, I'm a D cup, that's normal. And you get here and I find out I'm not a D cup. And people with D cups have actually small boobs, and I'm like a double G or double F, something like that. And there wasn't enough clothes for that. There wasn't enough out there for women with big boobs, and not just women who are active, because I'm very active and I work out and I dance, but for women who sit in the office, for camera women who actually have to carry that heavy camera and not be wearing the right bra. And it can knock your confidence. My confidence had been knocked so many times because of, one, how people comment, 2, how obviously European men see your body completely different than African men, because African men are like, we want a big bum, and everybody else here is completely different. They're like, oh my goodness, look at her. So it's a completely different view. And I think I'm very passionate about bras because I've been in so many positions where I've been made to feel embarrassed, or I've been made to feel ashamed, or I've just been uncomfortable, or I've never found anything that actually fit for me. And I want young girls who have been in my position to feel like it's okay. I want women who don't have the right bras to actually look into it and fix maybe back or shoulder aches that they have, and people to feel proud in their bodies. I know what you mean. I get so many moments where you're like, you look at the presidency, Kamala Harris. Look at, you know, you look at so many where you go, I just didn't think this was possible. And I talk a lot about mental empowerment and empowering yourself mentally. And if you can honestly dream it and believe it and know that your work ethic cannot be defeated, you can achieve it. I'm actually wearing one of my, I love to say this, and so my husband made it into a quote: nothing kills you like your mind. Because it's all in the head. If you stop yourself and you doubt yourself, it can be harder to get what you want. But if you really believe and you stay focused and driven about what you want to achieve in life, then it's possible. Anything is possible. And we have Nelson Mandela, who has that amazing speech where he goes, nothing is impossible until it's done. Do you know what I mean? And if you keep saying that to yourself, you'll see that it's doable.